Yeah, Coach, I want to get your takeaways from the scrimmage on Saturday, and I guess anything that's been applied from everything that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy with some of the things that we did out there on Saturday. Certainly, I like the way our running backs are running the football. Our quarterbacks did a good job on decision making and distributing the ball through very, very high percentage. We missed a few things in the run game as far as our technique and our assignments by the offensive line. I would have wished we would have been cleaner. The running back made up for him a little bit in our run game. Pass protection-wise, I thought we had a very good day in the scrimmage, but I think we need to just be more consistent in the run game than we were. We had some receivers make plays, so overall I thought it was a good scrimmage.
I mean, who are the go-to receivers? You got so many options out there. Like, have you started paring things down a little bit more?
It'll probably this week, start working itself out a little bit more. So you go into some situation work this week and game plan stuff, and still go ones versus ones, so you get that competition. But Monte still had another big game, had our big day out there, made a lot of catches, did a good job of running routes, ran after the catch. So I was happy with him. CJ had a big touchdown for us and run after the catch, which was great to see, something that we're really looking for. Jay Brown had a big day. I thought he felt good about it. He looked fast out there, and the thing about him is he is fast, so as long as he knows exactly what he's doing, he's going to play like that, and that was what was good to see, is that he wasn't hesitating. He really looked like he knew the offense better and made plays. Megan Blake had kind of a tough day as far as getting balls thrown to him. It just didn't work out. When you called the play for him, the progression took us somewhere else, and I'd have liked to seen him get more opportunities to catch the ball, but he just didn't get them done.
What stood out from Taylon's performance specifically when, in the moment, and then going back and looking at the film, what did you see from him under center?
Yeah, the best thing I saw from Taylon was his technique on his release. It was the best day he's had on getting up and over the top, and his accuracy was way up. He threw the ball a couple times before the receiver broke on their route, so his timing was really good. I thought it was a huge step forward for him. Didn't have the same yards, same touchdowns he had in the first scrimmage, but his performance was much more consistent and in throwing the ball and accuracy.
It seems like, every time Taylon gets up here, he talks about y'all's relationship and how much you work with him and the things you guys need to improve with him. I mean, the season's now 2 weeks away. Do you feel like Taylon is where you want him to be heading into the season? Technique, knowledge of the offense, everything like that?
He's getting closer. No one's ever where you want him to be, but he's certainly getting closer. And that's the thing that was most exciting for me watching the tape after the scrimmage and grading it with him, was seeing how much he improved from 1 week to the next on the consistency. It's not like he doesn't have good technique. It's just at times he's not consistent enough with it. But his release in the scrimmage on Saturday was closer to where we want.
Sam said that in both scrimmages, Amarian and Shaq have kind of rotated at right tackle with the first team. Is that a competition you can see extending maybe into the first couple weeks of the regular season, or would you want to have that settled before Alabama A&M?
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be settled before the Alabama A&M game. I think he has all the experience. He also has the ability to play other positions on the offensive line, so we're still rotating. Some of that is a thought that, who would move where if somebody went down. But the two of them have been doing a good job. Shaq isn't quite where he was at the end of spring last year. Some of that has to do with the heat. Some of that has to do with the longer, tougher, harder practices and being young and learning how to be mentally tough. Physically he's a tough guy, but you got to be able to play full speed and concentrate and focus on every single play when you're tired and it's 100 degrees out. So he's got a little bit to learn there.
You had Malachi clearly prepared for his moments last year. How do you feel about KJ maybe if he has to fill that same role?
Yeah, getting a lot more comfortable with him and really starting to understand, what the package will be for him and not only in the pass game but the run game. I think KJ's took huge steps forward since spring ball. He's a really, really intelligent young man, so he knows the offense. He's the one that wants to answer the question first in every meeting. It's just continue to learning what he does well, what he doesn't do well. We'll keep working on what he doesn't do well, but we've got to have the package ready and know exactly what we would go to if he had to jump in the game.
Apparently Platt had a pretty good day too, so could you speak to maybe his rise and then what the tight end position is looking like?
Yeah, I thought all three tight ends had big days for us when you talk about catches and throwing it and different plays. Platt looked like that guy that's 6'6", 265 and can run and catch the ball in his hands. He made a lot of really good plays for us. Rohan had a nice play down the field. We needed to get him more opportunities, a little bit like Blake. So we come back and practice the next day, and both of them had really good practices, so that was good to see. And Andreas understands the offense way better than a year ago. He's playing fast and physical. I think the combination of those three guys, because you can put the two big guys in and block. You can put the Platt and Rohan in together and have speed down the field, and I felt good about it.
And then, so I asked Marcus Woodson about the assistant coaches coming through here and all of the assistants talking to us. It seemed like you did that when you were head coach. What's the benefit in that? And it seems like you've enjoyed when you've come in here and talked to us. Is it more something you like to do?
Something I like to, yeah, man. It's right up there, number one. No. No, I'm just joking around. I have a good time with it. I love to hear the questions that you're going to ask and understand, what y'all are hearing out there. And some of it's true, some of it's way off. But it's just I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time. I really, what I really enjoy the most is the meeting room with the quarterbacks, because when we're in that meeting room, the time goes by like that, and you're out on the practice field, and that's a good group in there. They're good young men and very, very motivated and very dedicated. They put a lot of time in themselves without me in there, particularly with this new gadget that they got.
Coach, last year, I know your goal is to win the game, but last year against UAPB, you got to get Malachi and KJ some work at quarterback in that game. How beneficial do you think it would be to get KJ and maybe one of the others some work against Alabama? And if it worked out that way, because when Malachi came in against Tennessee, it wasn't, like deer in the headlights his first time or something. You feel like it would be beneficial if you could get KJ some work?
Yeah, the way I've always looked at these games is that we have to be mature enough to understand that we need to go out and execute and score points and work to score every single time we have the ball and allow our depth to get into the game. And that's how you develop. Like you said, with Malachi last year, he's out on the field. I knew exactly what we were going to do with him, and he executed and did a good job. And it certainly gave him confidence the next time that he jogged out on the field. But that's up to our players to be mature enough and prepare themselves well enough and really approach the game like it doesn't matter who we're playing, it matters how we play, and we have to take care of ourselves.
Mike Washington's really taken hold at running back. Do you feel pretty good about Braylon, Rodney Hill, and those guys behind him or with him?
Yeah, I really do. I think he's been a great influence on them. First on Braylon. Braylon's practicing harder and more physical, and Coach Smith has him doing a great job of running with his pads down and exploding up through it. So I think the emphasis on that has really helped him. Rodney's a speed guy too, so he's a threat, running with the ball outside, screen game, throwing the ball to him down the field. He's a really good option route runner. We're going to need option routes on third down situations. So I feel like we got a good handle on those three guys.
Coach, I think about a week last week when you came in here, you mentioned Cam Shanks. He'd been banged up. You wanted to see what he could do. I think he's been out there a little bit since then. Just, do you like what you've seen from him since then?
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know, he's little, but he doesn't play little. He doesn't play little because he can elevate and turn his body. Short guys that can't jump and turn in the air are hard targets to hit. You can actually throw him open, and he's able to elevate and turn and make those catches. And it's nice to have him back out there because we need the time with the quarterbacks working with them to understand, you know, where he's going to be, what his quickness gives us, because he's super quick, and he's a hard matchup because of that quickness.
Y'all are also expecting him to be a big factor in the return game as a punt returner. You had a really good punt returner when you were here in Joe Adams. I'm curious, do you see any similarities there, or are they completely different? Just kind of how would you assess those guys?
Yeah, I think what we really need to do is get into the games and that, so you guys can play it on the phone, so I can watch it when I'm driving to work. We got new skills now. You can drive and watch at the same time. So I've been developing those pretty well because, to be honest with you, I don't spend any time at all watching special teams in practice. But I do remember him from a year ago, from what he did at UAB, and, you know, to lead the nation in 3 different categories and see what he did out, you know, on the field. Very, very impressive. And his quickness as a receiver, and his toughness, you know, that would remind me a lot of Joe. Joe was unbelievably quick, change of direction, stop and go, and then tough and enjoying running the ball. When you got that mental toughness, you know, it helps a lot.
You brought up Monte Harrison, made a lot of plays again. When you brought him in, you know, as a guy that hadn't played in 10 years and was a lot older than all the other guys, did you realistically think, like, hey, this is a guy that can really actually help us on Saturdays, or has he maybe exceeded those expectations?
Yeah, I really didn't know. You know, didn't know a whole lot about him. Did go back and watch his high school tape, and very, very impressive, the different things he did on high school tape. He was a good punt returner in high school. He lined up at quarterback a little bit in high school, and all those things were exciting. And then, you know, I think when you this summer, when you put up on the board all our players and their size, strength, speed, jumping ability, he just pops off the board going, man, this is unbelievable how talented this young man is, or old man is. I don't know what you call him, young or old. Still young to me, I can tell you that. But he is unbelievably talented, and now he understands football. He's been away from it for a long time. So he's done a great job for us so far. We got to keep it going.
It sounded like in the scrimmage, the offense did a lot better job taking care of the ball. Not a lot, if any, turnovers. Just to the extent that you can tell from a scrimmage and when you're not hitting the quarterback, how optimistic are you that the offense can take care of the ball better this year?
Yeah, we need to. There's no question about that. And, you know, one of the things that helps you take care of the ball better is your pass protection. So we can secure the ball in the pocket and get the ball out of our hand and don't take those blind hits in the pocket. We've had a good emphasis on carrying the ball correctly at each position. When we get in traffic, chinning it and locking it. And I'm seeing those show up on video, so our coaches are doing a really good job of it.
Just to follow up on Braylon practicing harder, what have you seen of his progression from the first day of camp?
Yeah, he understands offense. He's been, you know, last year as a true freshman, you come in and you don't really realize how much you play into pass protection. And, you know, in high school, he probably didn't have to do it a whole lot, but he's taken it very, very seriously. He understands now how to use that big body and his strength, because he's a very explosive guy. So that jumps out at you, is how much better a pass protector he is, which allows him to play in the game for second and third down. So that's great.
If there's a position battle going on at someplace other than quarterbacks, obviously you work with the quarterbacks, how much say would you have in that as coordinator?
A lot. You know, we talk a lot. When you come in and have a meeting on the depth and on that, you know, Coach Pittman's in there, I'm in there, and the position coaches are in there, and sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't agree, and Coach Pitt's the boss, so he makes the final decision, and then you figure out how to, you know, work guys into using what their skills are. because there's a lot of starters on offense when you look at receivers, tight ends, running backs, fullbacks. It just happens to be what you trot out there in the first play of the game on who really starts. But we see it as a lot of starters on offense. Now, the O-line's a little bit different. That's the 5 guys you want to get together and get to know each other and stay together and work and rely on each other. So that's one where you don't rotate as much on the O-line. Although there's times in throughout my career that you've rotated a guard and each one of them plays about 50% of the game, and then they make each other better because they're not out there the entire game. They're fresh and never get worn down.
How much, as far as I know, in the scrimmages, it's been 1 versus 2s. How much of a good look, or how much have the 2s defenses or the 2s defense pushed your guys on the 1 offense?
Yeah, I mean, the first scrimmage was mostly all 1s versus 1s, and then we did have 1 rack of 1s versus 2s. The last scrimmage, you go 1 versus 2, so it's something where I just focus on the offense. I have no idea about that, but we're trying to execute and do what we can do offensively, and the combination of running the ball and the play action game and quick game and drop back game. You call scrimmages a little bit different than if you were really playing in a game, because a lot of it is we want to try our guys. We want to test them. We want to see what the boundaries are. So sometimes you'll run the ball 5 times in a row. Sometimes you'll throw it 4 or 5 times in a row just to see how we can stress our guys that are out there on the field.
If you guys had to play on Saturday, how confident or how good do you feel about your team if you guys had to have that quick of a turnaround?
I feel good about it. We're getting closer to where we need to be.
Last time we talked with you, you said C.J. Brown knows the offense better than anybody, which is high praise for a sophomore. Just what did you see from him this offseason to kind of get that type of confidence from you?
Well, really, it was last fall. He started, getting involved in the offense late in the season. He could run in there and add depth at 2 different positions. Had a nice bowl game. I thought he did a really good job in the preparation for the bowl game. Right now he's playing 2 different positions for us, and his skill set his quickness is really good inside, but he also has the really nice speed and routes that he can hit on the outside, and the quarterbacks feel good about where he's going to be on the deep throws. So he's going to have a good year for us. I'm happy.
Was on that 91-yard run that Talon checked out of a pass play, I guess. I guess he saw a blitz, and then Kittler made sure everything was right. Is that accurate? And how has Kittler been in terms of, I guess, but with his experience playing center in the past and bringing it to this year?
Yeah, Taylor made a good check. They like to say they got the freedom to check plays at the line of scrimmage. That's good, as long as they check it exactly what we want them to check to. We're in good shape with that. Kittler did a nice job in camp in the 2 weeks that we've had, really understanding what we want for him to take control of the O-line, have the confidence to make the calls and do it quickly. I really like what we've seen from him, and he's quick and sneaky, and that's what you have to be as a center. You got to be a little sneaky out there, and he's good at it.
Appreciate you, Coach.
All right, guys. Thanks.